You know, it's February 2026 right now, and I was looking through the CB list breakdown this morning, and
Let me guess, the timeline is completely split.
it is entirely split. I just had this realization that we are living through a very specific, kind of a weird moment in pop culture right now.
It really is a tale of two completely different worlds.
Exactly, because on one side of your screen, you have this intense, almost, I don't know, suffocating existential dread coming out of the K-pop sphere. It's emotional, the stakes are incredibly high, people are literally crying, and then you swipe left and you've got
Large men on ice,
large men on ice.
seemingly having the absolute time of their lives.
Right. We're talking about the global meltdown over BLACKPINK potentially hitting the end of the road. And simultaneously, we have San Francisco 49ers star George Kittle crashing the Winter Olympics in Milan.
With a very specific agenda.
A very surprising agenda. So that is our mission for today's deep dive. We are going to sift through the noise, look at the source material from the CB list, and basically figure out what these two moments are telling us.
Because they actually tell us a lot about pressure, right? About career pivots and why, as a culture, we are so obsessed with asking what comes next.
I think obsession is the perfect word for it.
Yeah, whether you're analyzing a cryptic sentence from Jisoo or you're analyzing George Kittle's sweeping technique on the ice, it's all about scrutinizing the transition.
Scrutinizing the transition, I like that. So let's start with the heavy stuff.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the panic. Because if you were anywhere near social media this past weekend, you saw the meltdown happening in real time.
Oh, it was unavoidable.
So just to set the context for you, BLACKPINK wraps up the Deadline World Tour in Hong Kong. And by all accounts from the sources, the tour was an absolute monster.
A massive success. I mean, they've been on the road seemingly forever at this point, selling out stadiums globally, breaking records. The commercial viability of this group is just undeniable.
But nobody is talking about the ticket sales today.
No, they are not.
They are talking about the finale. The mood in Hong Kong was just heavy, and then Jisoo takes the mic.
The inciting incident.
Right, she's addressing the crowd. It's the very end of the night. Emotions are obviously running super high, and she drops this one line. She says, "Who knows when we'll be able to use this again?"
And just like that, the internet absolutely breaks.
It wasn't just a crack, it was a shatter. The fans, the blinks, they went into immediate spiral mode, and I get it, to an extent.
Yeah.
It sounds incredibly ominous.
It does sound ominous, but we really have to contextualize why that specific phrasing triggers such a visceral reaction.
Right.
Because in the Western music industry, right, if a band says, hey, we don't know when we'll be back, it usually just means they're taking a vacation. They're tired.
Taking a break, yeah.
But in K-pop, the ecosystem is entirely different. It's highly structured. Contracts are finite, and they are very publicly scrutinized.
Which brings up the famous 7-year curse, even though they're past that specific milestone now.
Exactly. The anxiety is just built into the fandom's DNA at this point. In that industry, silence or ambiguity is very often read as a soft launch for bad news.
Because the agencies rarely just come out and say it.
Right? They rarely say it's over until the paperwork is completely dry. So when a member like Jisoo, who's generally seen as the pillar of stability for the group, says something that suggests a lack of future planning.
It's interpreted as a warning flare.
Exactly. A massive warning flare.
It's not just the quote, right? This is where the source material gets really, really interesting to me. It's the timing of the quote.
The timing is everything.
We are staring down the barrel of a new mini album dropping this Friday, February 27th. And the title of the album is
Deadline.
Deadline! I mean, come on. That feels aggressive.
It's certainly provocative. Look, if you're a marketing executive at their agency, you know exactly what you're doing. You do not name an album deadline by accident when contract renewals and the group's future are the hottest topics on the internet.
That's exactly my thought. It feels almost like they're trolling the anxiety. Like, is it a literal deadline? Is it a countdown? It essentially forces the entire global conversation to center on the end.
Because it creates urgency.
Yeah.
In today's attention economy, the fear of loss is an incredibly powerful motivator.
Right.
If the fans genuinely believe this is the last album, the very last chance to support the group as a unit, the streaming numbers on Friday are going to be astronomical.
It's weaponized nostalgia before the thing is even actually gone.
That is a slightly cynical take, but it's probably accurate from a business perspective.
But let's play devil's advocate here for a second, because the CB list notes also bring up this reality check perspective, the counter argument to the whole disbandment panic.
Which is the exhaustion theory.
Right. Just think about the actual physiology of what they just did. A global world tour.
Yeah.
Stadium after stadium. Different time zones every few days. The physical toll is immense.
It's not just physical either. It's the adrenaline crash. Post-tour depression is a very real, documented phenomenon for performers.
Oh, absolute.
You go from having 50,000 people screaming your name every night to just sitting in a quiet hotel room. So when Jisoo says, who knows when we'll use this again, she might not be talking about the group disbanding at all.
She might just be tired.
She might just be acknowledging that she physically cannot fathom getting back on a stage right now.
That makes so much sense. It's like finishing a marathon, right? You cross the finish line and someone immediately asks you when you're signing up for the next one.
And you'd probably say, I don't know if I'll ever run again.
Even if you are definitely going to run one in 6 months.
Exactly. We tend to demand certainty from artists who are currently in a state of absolute depletion. So the deadline might literally just be a deadline for rest, a hard stop to the working phase.
But then you have to look at the business side. And this is the part that makes me think the panic is fundamentally overblown. The source mentioned a statistic that honestly just blew my mind. Not because I didn't know BLACKPINK was huge, but just the sheer scale of it.
The YouTube numbers?
They just hit 100 million subscribers on YouTube.
It is a staggering figure. That's not a fan club anymore. That is a global media empire.
Exactly. You don't just close the doors on a shop that has 100 million paying customers lined up outside.
Well, this is the classic tension between art and commerce. From a purely economic standpoint, disbanding BLACKPINK right now is completely irrational.
Right.
The IP value alone, the brand partnerships, the streaming revenue, the back catalog, it's worth billions.
Yeah.
You don't walk away from an empire that efficient.
Unless the individuals inside the empire are just done.
And that's the unpredictable variable. You can have all the economic incentives in the world, but if the artists genuinely want to pivot, if they want to act or go solo or just step back and live a normal life, the money doesn't matter. That's why the fans are panicking. Deep down, they know that no amount of YouTube subscribers can force a group to stay together if the internal chemistry or the personal desire is gone.
It's the uncertainty of the pivot. We are watching a group that has basically defined a generation, potentially trying to figure out who they are as individuals, and that is a scary thing for the fans to watch.
It is. It's the potential end of an era. But as we see with the second topic from our source material today, the end of one era usually just means the beginning of something completely unexpected.
And potentially hilarious.
Very hilarious. Let's talk about Milan.
Please, because I definitely need a palate cleanser after all the K-pop angst. So shifting gears entirely to the 2026 Winter Olympics.
The atmosphere is totally different.
Night and day. We aren't crying in a stadium anymore. We are screaming in a hockey arena.
Specifically, we're screaming for the Team USA men's hockey team. They pull off this massive overtime win against Sweden. Huge, huge moment.
Electric. And the broadcast cameras cut to the crowd, and who do we see?
It's San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle.
And running back Christian McCaffrey. And they are not sitting in some quiet luxury box sipping wine politely. They are right in the mix.
They've gone full superfan.
It's the visual of it that really gets me. You have these guys who are literal gladiators in their own sport. Kittle is, what, 6'4", 250 pounds?
Something like that, yeah. Built like a truck.
He literally catches passes over the middle while linebackers try to take his head off for a living. And here he is, wearing a Team USA jersey, spilling popcorn, just screaming like a little kid because someone hit a puck into a net.
There is something undeniably charming about that crossover energy.
Totally.
We're so used to seeing them as the performers, right? The ones under the microscope on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
Seeing them as the audience, and not just polite audience members, but rabid, screaming fans. It really humanizes them.
It really does. It reminds you that underneath the millions of dollars and the Super Bowl appearances, these guys just genuinely love sports.
They love the juice. You can see it in their faces. They are addicted to the competition, even if they aren't the ones actually competing on the ice.
But, and here is where the story takes a massive turn. George Kittle isn't content with just watching.
No, he's not.
This is the nugget from the CB list that genuinely made me laugh out loud this morning. Kittle has a dream. A very specific, very icy dream. He doesn't want to play hockey.
He wants to curl.
He wants to curl. He wants to be an Olympian in the sport of curling. And the crazy thing is, he's not joking.
Well, he's probably joking a little bit, but he is actively putting in the reps.
The source notes that he revealed on a podcast that his ultimate goal post-football is to represent Team USA in curling. And get this, he's actually already in a league.
A curling league?
In Nashville.
Wow.
He plays in a rec league down in Nashville with some of his friends, and this is the detail that absolutely kills me. They finished fourth.
Fourth place.
Fourth place. Can you just imagine being the team that beat George Kittle in a curling match? You're just like a regular accountant or a dentist living in Nashville, and you beat an NFL All-Pro.
You know that eats him alive, too.
Oh, 100%. You do not get to the NFL without being a complete psychopath about losing. He is definitely plotting his revenge against the dentists.
So let's actually break this down for a second, because it sounds really funny, the giant football player with the little broom, but there's a real tangible challenge there.
Okay, let's hear it.
Think about the biomechanics of an NFL tight end versus an Olympic curler.
They are polar opposites, aren't they?
Completely opposite ends of the athletic spectrum. George Kittle is built for explosive, violent power. He is built for collision. His fast-twitch muscle fibers are literally designed to fire instantly so he can block a defensive end or sprint down the field.
Right.
Curling is the absolute antithesis of that.
It's all finesse.
It's extreme finesse. It's about balance. It's fine motor control. It's judging the micro friction of a stone on a sheet of ice. You have to be incredibly delicate.
Which he is not.
Exactly. Trying to get a 250-pound frame, a frame that has been conditioned for years for violence, to execute a soft-touch delivery on ice that is a massive physiological hurdle.
I just have this vivid image of him trying to sweep. You know how intense he gets on the football field? He'd just be screaming, hard, hard, at the ice. And he'd probably just snap the broom in half.
Or he'd melt the ice entirely just from the sheer friction of his sweeping speed.
But the host of the source coverage made a really great point about this. They said they would pay good money to watch this happen, and honestly, I would too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the classic fish out of water trope, but playing out with actual high stakes.
And it connects right back to that broader idea of athletes needing a second act. We see this all the time in professional sports.
Yeah, you really do.
NFL careers are incredibly short. Even for the absolute greats, you're usually done by your mid-30s. That is a terrifying deadline to face down.
Wow, there's that word again.
It is a deadline. Your body has a literal expiration date in the sport of football. So the question becomes, what do you do with all that leftover competitive fire when the stadium lights go out for the last time?
Some guys go into broadcasting.
Right, some go to the booth, some decide to coach. But Kittle looks at curling, and he sees a way to extend the timeline. A way to stay in the arena, even if that arena happens to be frozen and a lot quieter.
It's a way to pivot without ever really stopping. And I think that's ultimately why we love these kinds of stories so much, whether it's BLACKPINK facing the end of a massive contract cycle or Kittle facing the reality that he physically cannot play football forever. We're watching people navigate the big question of what now.
And they're doing it in very, very different ways.
Yeah.
BLACKPINK is navigating it with mystery and this high fashion, high stakes ambiguity. Kittle is doing it with a broom and a huge smile down in Nashville.
But both are completely valid responses to extreme pressure.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
I genuinely think there is a lesson there for the rest of us as we watch this all unfold.
The lesson.
We tend to view these major transitions with so much fear. The BLACKPINK fans are terrified of the change. Kittle, realistically, could be terrified of his impending retirement. But instead of hiding, they are engaging with it head-on.
So if we're pulling this all together for you listening, if we're synthesizing these two very different vibes from the pop culture timeline, what is the ultimate takeaway?
I think it's about fundamentally reframing our concept of the deadline.
Okay, walk me through that.
We usually treat a deadline as a hard stopping point. The paper is due, the contract is up, the game is over, it feels incredibly final.
Right.
But if you look at both of these stories from the source material, the deadline is actually acting as a catalyst.
Catalyst for what?
For reinvention.
Ah.
The Deadline album dropping on Friday is forcing BLACKPINK to decide who they are next. Are they solo stars? Are they moving into a legacy act phase? And the deadline of a grueling football career is forcing Kittle to find a brand new passion. The deadline isn't the wall you crash into. It's the door you walk through.
That's actually a really hopeful way to look at it. We shouldn't be so scared of the deadline. We should just be looking for the curling broom on the other side of it.
Exactly. Maybe the end of things is just a brief moment before you try something completely absurd and wonderful.
I love that. So just to recap for everyone before we sign off today, here is the current state of play out there.
Point 1. Jisoo's quote in Hong Kong, "Who knows when we'll be able to use this again?" It sparked a massive global panic, but as we discussed, it might really just be sheer exhaustion speaking.
Point 2. The new album Deadline officially drops this coming Friday. The title is aggressive, the marketing is definitely scary for the fans, but that 100 million subscriber count strongly suggests the empire isn't crumbling just yet.
Point 3. George Kittle is currently in Milan, hyping up Team USA and actively plotting his total takeover of the Olympic curling world.
And point 4. If you happen to be in a rec curling league in Nashville, watch your back. An NFL All-Pro is coming for that 4th place trophy.
He's definitely aiming for at least 3rd next year.
I'd bet on him. I wouldn't bet against George Kittle on anything.
No, I definitely wouldn't either.
Well, this has been a real journey today. From the tears in the stadiums of Hong Kong to the ice rinks in Milan. The culture is definitely weird right now, but man, it keeps us guessing.
It certainly does.
Thanks for diving in with us today. Keep an eye on the streaming charts this Friday, and hey, maybe go buy a curling broom.
You never know when you might need a new hobby.
Always be ready to pivot, right?
Always.
Catch you in the next deep dive.